Welcome to the Tennishackery podcast. This is episode number 37. We are a bunch of extremely enthusiastic San Francisco Bay Area based tennis aficionados. My name is Tarun. We have Soham and Coach Craig with us today. Hey guys, how you doing?
Tarun.
Hey. Yes, so as promised, we are going to do a little post-mortem of the Australian Open, the recently concluded Australian Open. And definitely we look at everything through the lens of the fundamentals, the fitness, and the mindset aspect of the game, which is what Tennishackery is all about. Tennishackery at Tennishackery is our social media handle, Tennishackery with a Y. You can find us on Instagram, where we are extremely active. We are on Facebook, on X, the YouTube, on audio. The audio version goes to Spotify, but you can pick it up from any of your favorite podcasting app. The video version goes to YouTube. Now, having gotten that out of the way, let's get into it. So, guys, what did you feel about the Australian Open? How do we start? So, why don't you take it?
I hope our listeners watched our episode 36, which was basically talking about the Australian Open up until the quarterfinal stage.
Yep.
And so from quarterfinal onwards, from the men's and women's, there was some fascinating tennis. All my students that I teach, they're all so into Australian Open, right? Which is really nice to see.
Yep.
First Grand Slam of the year, the Happy Slam,
Yep.
right? And also the timings for the earlier rounds was kind of matching with the US times.
Yep.
Some of the semis and finals were a little late, but I know so many people who stayed up to watch it, and it's so good to see that tennis is so inspiring, or the professionals who are playing, whether it's Alcaraz, Sinner, Swiatek, Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, all of these professionals are making a great impact on the juniors, which is great to see. So I know for me, one of the positives, right, was people were engaged and kind of locked in to see what happens at the Australian Open. And my take on it, and we'll get into more discussions. And this is episode 37, so we are doing great, by the way. So thanks, Tarun, for doing all the hard work setting this up. No, so what I'll say is we had a bunch of upsets in the women's in the quarterfinals. Some of them were unpredictable, so we'll talk about that. Men's, there were some amazing matches. I mean, I'll let Coach Craig talk about the women's first and then men's. To me, I had a lot of fun. I'll get into the details as our episode goes on. So, Coach Craig, what were your thoughts on the women's first and then the men's?
Yeah, I don't know how much my opinion / thoughtfulness will affect this post-mortem AO, because about a year ago I predicted a big three in women's tennis, and it's turned out to be a big one. It's like Sabalenka, and it's a rotation of players. It's Keys and Pegula, and Keys, defending champion, had a tough draw, and her exit was difficult. Pegula, good run, and then ran into the buzzsaw of it was Rybakina. And but it's always like, and then Swiatek, a tough quarterfinal loss.
Yep.
So it's just tough, and Sabalenka seems to be always the last player standing on the women's side, and whether she wins or not, that's where the bread is buttered on the WTA, and she's like the big one, and it's just a matter of who she's playing in the final, it seems. And I think she's just uber impressive, and sure, I mean, Goff's got stuff to figure out. Swiatek's form looked great until that quarterfinal match. And at Australia, I think you can get served off the court a little bit. You can get aggressive off the court with the pace of that court. Early on, the first Grand Slam of the season, 20 ball rallies. People aren't necessarily maybe grinding on that quite yet.
Yeah.
Some of those factors come in play. Perhaps they did or not. Lots of stuff to figure out for the women who aren't number one. So 2 through 12 have some work to do, and there's always one lady standing at the end, and that's Sabalenka for sure.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you, Craig. I know we spoke about the women's. Now, in terms of the physical aspects of the enduring through or persevering through the 2 weeks in Australia in tough conditions sometimes, how do you think the women did in comparison to the men?
That's a great question, Soham. At my first instinct, and I have to go back and check it out, so we'll see if somebody wants to fact check me, they can. But I think the women fared far better than the men.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point.
The men, and listen, the season for the men or the women, people complain about the season's long, the requirements for the top players. You have to be in this many events and top 500s and top 1000s, and all that's fine. So you take some time off in November, early December, come back and it's holiday, you do your training block, and then you fly to Australia after your training block and you start playing. It's Hotman Cup, not exactly hits and giggles, but it's a gentle pathway into the entry of competitive tennis. Let's say you go play Brisbane after that. You win 1 or 2 matches, and you have a whopping 2 competitive matches if you choose after your training block, after your tournament entry, 2 competitive matches into the AO. To me, it's not a big surprise that some of these players are getting hurt, and whether the women are doing a much better job of fitness and matriculating their, calisthenics calendar, I'm not sure, but the men fared very poorly, and it doesn't surprise me actually. Not that the men did poorly, but that any of the athletes struggle in this first event. Nobody played best of 5 since August. It's hot. Yeah. Variables in Australia are different. The conditions are dry. They're fast. Yeah. It's hard. And so to me, all the discussions about people are retiring, what's going on, what's happening at the AO, to me, that's like, maybe not everybody's retiring year after year, but people are struggling at the Australian Open every year. Yeah. And if you pay attention, I mean, there's years that, whether it was Burditch or Ferrer, but everybody's getting worked.
Yeah, Novak himself used to struggle.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just part of the territory. So,
Coach Craig, you're actually very right. I'm just reading out the list. Mid-match retirement during the matches: Felix Auger Aliassime, Rafael Collignon, Hugo Gaston, of course, you had Musetti and then Mahach. Those who actually didn't turn up: Jack Draper, Holger Rune, Arthur Fils, Matteo Berrettini. Yeah, it's a big list. And from the women, I do see only one name, which is Francesca Jones, retired in the first round. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but the men had a rough go of it. So and it's interesting when you talk about if you put a fine point on this for one person with Djokovic. It's amazing that after his 3rd round match, he did not lead in a round until his 5th set semifinal. So if you were to put together a question previous to a tournament and said, how can a player not lead after his 3rd round match and still make a tennis tournament final until the semifinal of, it's 5th set. There's no way you would. It's like, how can I figure out that puzzle? What does that even mean? Yeah. And that blows my mind, because he had the walkover in the
against Menchik.
Against Menchik, and then Musetti obviously was down 2 sets. So it did not lead until the 5th set of his semi.
Right.
That is incredible. Yeah.
Yep.
And question for you, Tarun, just to add to it, do you think do you think it's a result of the men having to endure through 5 sets versus the women playing 3 sets?
It's a tough one to answer. I mean, of course, I think on the men's side, potentially it could also mean the way they train, the way they play. Like it's a big power game. You know, all the open stance and like full-blooded swings, fast court, and you're just staying on the court longer. So part of me also, I feel that just because they put more time on court in the early rounds, so perhaps things catch up with them in later rounds. Like a minor injury, which was a niggle earlier, kind of flares up, like in the case of Mosseri. I think it was like the adductors.
Great point.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, on the women's side, it's possible because they play best of 3 more instead of best of 5. Although you can see that there was Craig Tiley saying that they are going to float the possibility of women playing best of 5 quarters onwards, which I actually think is a good idea. But
all right, that's going to be a teaser for the next episode.
Yep.
and we'll definitely have Coach Alex to share her opinion on this.
Yes.
But Tarun, like, question for you is, if that's what you're saying, or that's what we are saying, analyzing, right, in terms of retirements and how strenuous it can be.
Yes.
Do you think then the player should have like a longer off season to between the end of the tennis calendar year previous year and the start of Australian Open?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if they are actually talking of reducing some of the duration of the ATP 250s and like kind of increasing the duration of some of the ATP 500s. I'm not sure how it's going to work out because it's an all-season sport, and I think they are, by the time they're done with the year-end finals and stuff like that, and then the Asian swing, it's almost like Thanksgiving, and they barely have a month. So I'm really not sure like what they are going to do. The few weeks of time off, I don't know if it's enough for a training block for people who need that work. I don't know. How do you see that, Coach Craig?
Yeah, I think there's got to be some clear choices. There's going to be a delineation between the top 30 to 50.
Yeah.
And then the 51 to 100, or maybe even the top 1 to 75, and then top, and then the 76 to 120. So what'll happen is after the U.S. Open, it's kind of like where do I go?
Yeah.
And if you're a top player, you're going to go play, you're going to take some time off, and then you're going to go play the Far East. You're going to go play China, Japan, and places like that where there's the back-to-back thousands that I think you're required to be at least at one of them, if not both of them.
Yeah.
There's some 500s there leading up to it, so you're going to want to play those because you're required probably to be at least one of them there.
Yep.
And then if you're in that 50, 75, 80 range, it's like, okay, do I go play those, or am I going to wherever?
Yep.
Am I going to Croatia to play indoors? Am I going to play in the, is there a tournament in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Where is there a tournament where I can get a 250 in that I might be able to gain some points?
Yep.
And now those I think happen more in like October, November, not so much September, early October. But I think there has to be some help from the tour for the men and the women to say, hey, sure, there's going to be this tour in Asia, which is very important for the tour. There's, a sixth of the world's population there that are huge tennis fans, and it needs representation. It needs player participation, and we have some great players coming out of there right now for the tour. Yep. Whether that needs to be condensed or moved up or whatever that needs to be, I'm not sure. I don't have the answers to that. But I think after that season is over and you go to the ATP finals for those players who qualify, that's like 8 players. So you're not looking at a huge, amount of people who, you earn that ATP Tour final. There's 1 or 2 alternates in case people get hurt or decline. You're fine. Now, those other players say they want to go to play the 250s in Acapulco or wherever that might be. that's where it gets to the point of, yeah, it goes up to what you guys said. It can go all the way up to Thanksgiving, but there's choices because you don't have to go play those. Once your Far East commitment is over, for Shanghai and Beijing, and you make the AT port. Actually, once your commitment is over at Shanghai and Beijing, you're done unless you get invited,
Yep.
or you're earned your way actually to the ATP Tour or the WTA Tour finals.
Right.
And again, that's just 8 players. So if you're 10 through or 11 through whatever, then you have choices. It's like, what do I do? Do I want to do my training block? Do I want to continue to do, if there's a 500 out there that's probably random, or 250? Or do I want to just train and take time off? I don't know. But that, I can't tell you exactly how that calendar fits into the dates, but there needs to be some machinations of that make sense.
Yeah.
And it just can't be all about tournaments making money and putting the ATP and the WTA on requirement status. There has to be some consideration for the players and the levels of players. A number 80 player shouldn't be treated as a top 6 player for their requirements. They should have the freedom to do whatever they want. A top 6 player might have earned the right to go to Italy and play, and then that's going to be their choice, and then they might take time off afterwards.
Yeah.
The number 86 player might take time off early and play the 250s later on in the year.
Yep.
So a lot to unpack, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Tennis, at the end of the day, at least singles tennis is so strenuous physically and mentally.
Yep.
That's why I feel like even at a recreational level when we play, it can be exhausting. So
Yep.
The recovery and break and just taking time off to reward yourself or enjoy life, because it can get pretty crazy, right?
Yep.
If you keep playing. So one of the interesting stats, diverging a little bit, was on the men's and women's side, I think the top 6 seeds all made the quarterfinals,
Yep.
which I thought was really
It's very rare, I believe.
but that's rare, yeah. Because I saw that statistics float around on social media. I think I shared it too, which is amazing. And for the men's, since we kind of touched upon the women's already, and a great win for Rebekina, because I think she was outstanding and coming into the tournament. I mean, I picked her to win because I thought that she had a great run prior to Australian Open, and as she followed through with some great wins. I mean, some amazing wins. I mean, she deserved it at the end, right? Her serve, her big hitting, under pressure from 3-0 down in the final set, in the final, coming back, great stuff. Really happy for her. What I did want to talk about is the men's. The top 4 seed made it to the semis.
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to stay up and watch high-level quality tennis and having like sleep deficiency and being sleep deprived. 10 hours of high-level quality tennis. And I would love for us to talk about it, because starting with Alcaraz versus Sasha Zverev, and then moving on to Novak versus Sinner. Coach Craig, you wanna talk about the men's single semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, we had some good back and forths on the chat, right? While we watched it live, and it was, we have our feelings of this particular matchup. We have our feelings about, Zverev and Carlitos, and how if you take them straight up, their strengths and there's areas of opportunities where, sure, Carlos has the ups and downs and the absolute spectacular matches, and then all of a sudden within the same match he'll hit spectacular balls, and then he'll go in a little bit of a lull, and then he'll pull it out.
Yeah.
And then Zverev always seems to be in a constant kind of lull, and every once in a while he'll show this amazing sizzle. And he hit about, and for me, for those of you who know me, I'm not a big fan of Zverev's forehand intensity. As big as he is and as strong as he is and as technically sound as he is, it's like a teaching forehand. It's just so basic. It's just so frustrating. There's so much that could be there. It could be thermonuclear, and it's just
Yep.
It is so basic. And he hit about 3 or 4 forehands, guys. I don't have them segmented in the match, but he hit 3 or 4 forehands. I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the one. And Sinner and Alcaraz, even Demon, like these guys, Djokovic, these guys can come up with forehands multiple times in sets and dozens of times in matches. And Zverev continues to like underwhelm with his forehand. And it's just such a
Yeah.
vanilla shot. And everywhere else in the men's game, it's such a big shot. And I
Yeah.
think that's a major deficiency for him. His is like basic vanilla, and everybody's got vanilla with marshmallows and sprinkles and
That's a
chocolate
good way
chips
to
on
put
top.
Yeah.
And, it's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think that holds him back a little bit. As great as his backhand is, and if he has a great serving day percentage, he always has a great serving day percentage-wise, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's percentage and heavy, then it's a wrap. But he can't sustain that over
Yeah.
5 sets against the best players. And sure enough, it was the same thing. And, Carlos, there was no reason for him to win that match.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I agree.
none. And when you actually see that and watch him walk around the court, you're like, there's no, when is it
done.
going to happen?
Yeah.
So Soham, did you ask yourself, like, okay, I know it's coming. Is it going to be now, or is it going to be 2 points from now, or is it going to be a game from now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be against after the next medical timeout? When did you think Carlos was going to retire?
I mean, there was a point in the match where I think they were going from one side to the other. It could have been during the tiebreak, where he was kind of walking in a way where he was gonna just say, "I'm done," but then he just turned,
Like, did a
changed
fake
it.
out?
Yeah.
Fake out. And that's funny because I felt like it threw off Zverev
Yeah.
a little bit. But
the question
he
that I-
battled.
yeah.
My question to you, Tarun, is, and I know I'm asking this question because I know when we were chatting back and forth, you were like, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yep.
Why is Zverev not like making the guy move, drop
Yeah.
shots? So that's my question. Like, what was going on in your head, and did he execute? Could he have done things better?
Yeah. No, I'm putting my cramper hat on because I'm a cramper. I tend to cramp late in the matches on hot days. So, I mean, I thought the way, so I could see Alcaraz couldn't put weight on his lower body. I think the game plan should have been simple for Zverev. Just hit deep and heavy, and then maybe hit few angles, bring him in, send him out, things like that. I mean, sometimes you will see that it'll look like ugly, but he's there in a semi-final. I mean, he needs to think about winning and winning big, and make the other guy retire. Remember, it's the injured guy's choice to continue to playing. No, he has a choice to retire. Make him
Yeah.
retire. So so to me, like, if so that's the thing. I feel that there should be no mercy for for players who are like hobbling around and injured. I also felt that Alcaraz perhaps kind of played a fast one with the rules, because technically cramping is not injury, and Zverev was right to be outraged at that. But he should have shown it with good, solid tactics in the match. I felt he really missed a big opportunity.
You know that
Yeah.
even after both the sets, set the third and fourth set went to tiebreaks.
Yep.
In the fifth set, he was up. He broke.
Yeah.
Alcaraz was missing some opportunities actually early on,
Yeah.
and Sasha was always up.
Yeah.
He was serving for the match at 5-3,
Yeah.
and then he lost. And then, you know me, I call him the choker, and I know you hate that
I
term,
hate
Tarun.
that term. Yes.
But that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah.
This is crazy because I was talking to Craig about this sometime. I think a couple of days ago. The ability for Alcaraz, he plays amazing, then he has a lull, and then he comes back.
Yeah.
He is really very good at coming back from behind
Yeah.
a lot at such a young age,
Yeah.
which is incredible mentally. And his level went up when he was down.
Yep.
and very few people can do that. Like one thing is you're worried about your injury, it's affecting you, right?
Yeah.
And then you're trying to compete, and then you're like, okay, when will I get back to normal? You know, the pain will go away, kind of. And it's amazing, like how he fought in those four. He was sensational the last four games. 5-3 Zverev serving for the match in the fifth set, and then Alcaraz wins 7-5. It's like a 5 hour 47-minute match. It's incredible what the level of fitness is right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, you can't imagine. Right, Craig?
There was one point that I want to say Zverev was 2 points away, and it was whether it was in that 5-3 game or that 5-4 game. And he had either 30 love on his serve or love 30 on Carlos's serve. And I'm like, okay, he's 2 points away.
Yeah.
When you're 2 points away, you go with your best shot, +1, boom. Then you got triple match. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And you're right, this pull, there's this polarity that Alcaraz has, that this gravitational pull. It's almost like Steph Curry in the NBA, where he changes his skill set changes everything on the court. Yeah. So you can have a plan, you can draw up whatever you want, you can have your diagram, your +1s, your whole data analysis, whatever it is, your whole operational platform. And it's fairly ruined because somebody can shoot a jump shot from like 40 feet away anytime he wants.
Yeah.
Or he can fake it and then drive it to the hoop and do the circus layup. So you have to cover like way more territory than you would normally plan for. So you don't plan for it. You kind of hope it doesn't happen, and then when it happens, you react to it. And that's exactly what happened in this match. It's not planned for that you're playing against a guy who's cramping, but you let him hold on just long enough to recover.
Yeah.
And a 5-3 or 5-4, all that juice kicked in, all that Alcaraz aura kicked in, all that fight kicked in, all that, just everything that's about Alcaraz kicked in, that spirit, the tennis universe that he has, that Sasha doesn't have.
Yeah.
That sizzle to the steak. So if you say they're two steaks, they're both two good ribeyes. Well, when you serve Zverev's ribeye, it's like medium heat. It's a little too well done. It's not very, it's just okay. When Alcaraz's steak comes out, it's like sizzling and popping, and it's got stuff going. It's like, don't touch the plate, it's too hot. It's Alcaraz. So, guys, it happened in this match, and regardless of Zverev, great player. It happens to him a little too often, in our opinion. That's fine. But let's go back to Alcaraz. He won this match, but he won Wimbledon in similar fashion. Now, maybe not being injured, but certainly not playing great. With Sinner, the 5-set match, that like Alcaraz has this notoriety now, in my opinion, that he'll play up and down in spectacular fashion, as proven in this match. But also going back to Wimbledon, where he'll play amazing, and then he looks like he's down and out, and then all of a sudden, 4-4 in the fifth set, 5-3 in the fifth set, he'll come out and just play unbelievable. Healthy, hurt. It just is crazy. It's just unreal. What's amazing,
Craig? That when the stakes are high, like I was telling over the phone the other day, his toolbox of what he has, right, is so vast that he can use like crazy drop shots at times when nobody would dare to hit those kind of shots, because it's high risk, high reward. But he has confidence to take those chances, which is why it pays off. And over time,
fearless.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Fearless. So over time, when you have done that enough times in pressure situations, you're like, oh, I have no fear to do this.
Against Sinner, against Zverev, against all these great players. It's crazy.
his drop shots are amazing.
Yep. Yep.
That they're next level, which is what he did at pressure situations in this match. And you're so right, Craig. Like the ability to win matches when you haven't played your best, show it's a hallmark of like a top player, a legend.
Historically, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Now, that's discussion on Alcaraz and Zverev.
Yeah.
The
second
next match,
Yep.
it was tough. It was Sinner and Novak were waiting for such a long time. So that's one
I'll
thing,
just
right?
read out some stats from the Sinner Novak match. Yeah. So I'm sure people would have found this, and a lot of these are floating around. Sinner won more total points, 152 to 140 versus Novak. Hit more winners, 72 versus 40, and so it just, I mean, to me it looks like if he's ahead on all these metrics. Of course, I think there's another metric about break points, which Sinner lacked.
I was gonna come to he
Yes.
converted 2 out of 18 or
Exactly,
something.
yes. But it to me just shows that Novak played a smart, a very. I mean, he managed the match very well. Like he kind of got into lockdown mode at the right moments, and he played. I mean, I didn't see this match completely, but I just looking at the stats and the description, it's a case of the old fox trying to just playing all his tricks. What do you think? What do you guys think? I'll let you guys take, because I didn't see the match, so I'll let you guys.
I have a question. I have a question for Craig.
Yep.
Thanks, Tarun, for actually reading out the statistics. I think for me, the statistic that actually stood out, I didn't know about. I wouldn't have predicted about the number of points winning or whatever. It was a breakpoint conversion, because those happen at critical points in the match, which showed me something. And this is what I wanted to discuss with Craig actually. That in pressure situations in fifth set, I remember several times in the fifth set, Novak was serving, it was 15-40, right? And Sinner's opportunity to break. He failed to convert that game. I think another time later on in the set, it was love 40 on Novak's serve. Sinner failed to convert. If you fail enough times, it starts weighing on you. The pressure goes up more. And what Novak did amazingly well is he served really well in the fifth set. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but he served amazing. Put the pressure on Sinner. And I just felt like Sinner kind of wilted under pressure a little bit. He was making uncharacteristic mistakes. So my question for Craig is, we have seen this happen a few times with Sinner now in the fifth set. It might be something for someone to exploit, and it might be becoming a pattern. Novak is known for his razor sharp, amazing mental ability under pressure. I don't know whether you saw the match, Craig, but Novak hit some big forehands. He took big cuts at the forehand.
Especially down the line, I heard down the line forehand was very effective, is what I heard.
Yes. So tell me more about Sinner's, inability to capitalize in pressure situations in the fifth set.
Yeah, it's it is common with some younger players. First of all, I think Alcaraz is a bit of an anomaly, being able to ride the ups and downs and ebbs and flows. You remember Novak when he was younger? Retirements under pressure, fading away, wilting. Those were all narratives that were actually fairly well earned, not discriminatory or not judgmental. Like, those things happen. And then all of a sudden, diet, mental, a massive shift. So I'm not saying Sinner's that, because he is definitely in a much different physical state. He's improved so much with his feet, with his physical, presence. Such a great mover, such a great athlete. But there's also a fact that the break point thing, Soham, is huge. I'll focus on that. But just to get back to my other point is, the clutch factor is to be determined with Sinner for sure. If you were to play poker with the two, Sinner and Alcaraz, everybody's picking Alcaraz all the time. It's like you're going to play poker with that every single day, 100%. With Sinner, it's up in the air. And, I don't know if he's figuring out his game. I don't know if he's figuring out, do I play my game no matter who I play, or do I adjust depending on who I play? I don't know. I'm not sure what his approach is with Cahill and his team. So I think Alcaraz is like, I'm playing my game no matter what, and then I'll adjust within the match and figure it out. And we saw that a little bit in the final. I don't want to jump ahead, but with court position and shot selection, return to serve position, he was trying to figure. And there's times where he was clearly unhappy in the first set, and then he started to figure it out in the second. And by the third set, he's like, "Okay, I got this. Let's go."
Yeah.
And there it was. So we'll have to figure out if Sinner has that capability, because I think sometimes he thinks he does, and sometimes not so much. So, and go back to the massive forehands that Tarun, you and Soham talked about. There's nobody been better. Agassi was actually really good at it. His backhand gets so much great play of being so consistent, and his forehand being so massive. But he underrated for change of direction.
Yeah.
And obviously nobody does that better in the modern game than Novak. So the fact that him hitting big forehands up the line, if the data says that, that's obviously, no surprise. But the break points for Sinner, absolutely. Wimbledon, this match, I'd even hate to see the combined. We'll do that. We'll get our finest people on it for your next episode. But the combined effort from Wimbledon and remember, Sinner was dominated at the U.S. Open. Sinner didn't play badly. Yeah. Alcaraz, and this goes back to one final point I want to make about Alcaraz. Alcaraz can win ugly at Wimbledon, dominate against the same opponent at the make all the adjustments between Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, knowing that he's going to play Sinner. Basically, he works for 2 months to know that he's going to play Sinner in the U.S. Open final. Makes the adjustments, rolls him when Sinner's not playing that bad, untouchable, and then comes back again and just is unbelievable in Australia. So winning at not his best in any of the matches, guy is just ridiculous. I don't know what to say.
Since you said since he's ridiculous, do you think Alcaraz is, if you look at him as a wholesome player, right? As a player as a whole, do you think he's like a combination of Fed, Novak, Rafa, all into one?
I don't know that, but I don't know. But what I will tell you is, when you said wholesome, let me tie this all together, because I think I can do it, because I was listening to Andy Roddick, and what he said was so awesome. How lucky are we to have Novak, Roger, and Rafa, and they're basically wrapped up. And then you have Sinner and Alcaraz, but then the Alcaraz part of that equation is, if you look at a person who's an alien who comes down and lands, who's just like, oh, what's this thing called tennis? And wow, who is this guy who has every shot in the book, is a great athlete, he's always smiling, and he can do anything he wants on court, and he's moving around like a unicorn. It's just, how amazing is it? You can't write this. Nobody would believe it, that you would have Alcaraz, and let alone the Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry. But if you had a player like Alcaraz, who's always happy, he's always fun, there's no controversy, there's no tense handshakes, there's no BS, there's no, his biggest drama is like, I'm going to change my coach, and then that's and we make a big deal out of it. And guess what? Sinner changed his coach in the last 3 years, and 3 years ago, and it turned out great. Djokovic changed his coach like 7 times. All these players changed their coaches, and it's not a big deal. And listen, JCF is a big part of Carlos Ferreira. It was just as much his win as it was Carlos's win.
Yep.
And will be for all of his Grand Slam wins, because of all the years they spent together. So So, let's get over it and let's focus on what's happening. Carlos, we're so tennis universe from tennis player standpoint, and then if you're looking at the average consumer who is just watching the Grand Slams, and when they come around and watch Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, they see Carlos, they'll be like, wow, that guy's amazing. Who is he? Look at that smile. He's all over the place. I love that. I want to play like that.
Yep.
And they go out and contribute to tennis in a different way than we imbibe it. We're so lucky to have somebody like that. It's
Absolutely.
unbelievable.
And all the juniors that I work with, they love that guy.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah.
He's fun. He likes to have his fun too, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's always a good thing.
Yep.
Now, speaking about fun, one of the things we should talk about a little bit is the final itself, right? Tarun, I know you did watch the final. The way Novak started that final was mesmerizing.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, he was lights out. Carlos was not at his peak form.
Yeah.
Let's speak about the fact that Novak at 38 reaches a final, which is incredible in its own way.
Yeah.
And he's up a set.
Yeah.
Right?
I was actually speculating that. I mean, so he had an amazing starts to the 2016 final as well as the 2019. 2016 versus Federer and 2019 versus Rafa. Incredible front runner, like in those, like he was playing lights out, and he had a similar start. Like he was fast off the blocks, like clean serves, excellent returns. He was placing the ball, redirecting at will. Alcaraz was on his heels basically, and then the adjustments came. The errors started piling up, but it was amazing. And I was actually kind of speculating that if Novak wins this final, he would retire. That was what I was kind of speculating, but for good or for bad, not to be. So
what happened after the first set, guys?
Coach Craig, do you want to take that after the first set?
Listen, Tarun, you said it great. Like,
Yeah.
in those years that you chronicled,
Yeah.
Novak, and obviously those were prime Novak years,
Yes,
right?
prime years,
like
yeah.
2016, 20. I mean, that's where he was racking up, where he made that change.
Yep.
Diet, exercise, mental, spiritual. 2012 to 2019, he's
Yes.
dominated, and great front runner, probably one of the best ever.
Yep.
When he won that first set, and Tarun, you and I were chatting,
Yep.
I was like, his first serve percentage, he's dictating from the baseline.
Yep.
Novak looked like decades old Novak. I think maybe verbatim what I texted you. I was like,
Yep.
this is and I bought into it. I was like, holy cow, like this could happen. Like this could be a legendary story. This would be like a Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. I mean, this would be unbelievable, right? This
Like
would be like
he beats the top two
fancy-
players
Yep,
back
yep,
to back.
yep.
It'd be crazy. But like the way he played in that first set, if you could can that
Yep.
and bottle it and preserve
Stunning,
it, that
yes.
was crazy. From the serve, he missed maybe literally three first serves in the match, and his serve was 85% and heavy. It wasn't like he was just rolling him in on clay. They were good serves, and he was one-plussing from the baseline,
The baseline.
dictating and changing direction and just thumping it, and clean strings, center of the rack. I was like, dang. I was like, Carlos is in trouble. And just when you think, as we chronicled in this episode, when Carlos is in trouble at Wimbledon, at the Australian Open, or maybe in times previously that we haven't talked about tonight, dude just figures it out. Just like you were saying, Soham. And what happened? He adjusted. So Novak's first serve, it was super effective. Carlos was in. They both were trying to dictate, right?
Yep.
Novak won that arm wrestling match in the first set. So he adjusted in the second set, took a couple steps back,
Yep.
tried to rip some, didn't work, and then tried to roll it and then work the point.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to work the point against Novak. Usually wrong,
Yep.
but he rolled him in, and then guess what? He started peppering Novak and started working his forehand to get to his backhand, and then came in, worked him around the court.
Yep.
he started dictating on like the +3.
Yep.
So it was really, it was kind of neat, and they both were changing direction, figuring each other out, and then Novak resorted to, it's like the game of chicken.
Yes.
And then Novak started to drop shot a little more, serve and volley on kind of some.
When Novak serves and volleys, he's in trouble. Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes it's a good play, right? But when you do it out of misdirection and guile, it's one thing. When you do it out of like, I don't really have any other answer at the moment, that's a problem. And that's kind of what it felt like and looked like. And I think that's what it was like. And Carlos out-chessed him.
Yeah, true. I thought, like you said, perfectly said, Coach Craig. I think he spread the court very well, Alcaraz, and I think he took him out to the corners. He forced him to go hit shots from the sidelines. I thought he also used a short angle very well, short angle forehands, short angle backhands, to get a Novak onto the alleys and play from there. And that's a place where he does not want to be. I think Novak likes to control the middle of the court. So I think Alcaraz played an amazing tactical match.
I mean, as the match goes longer, hopefully a 16 years younger person can take advantage.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And it's just amazing, just to build off what Coach Craig said about Carlos. I mean, that drop shot is so effective because it's so well disguised. You can see he shapes up to hit that big slappy forehand.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, it just comes off the ball. He gets under the ball and just hits that. Many times he does it onto the ad court, and the guy's on his heels. He's shaping up to defend one side, and he knows the ball is coming hard, and then you just stumble. What do you do?
Exactly. Yeah. And there was so much at stake too, right? It was Carlos trying to get to his slam, all 4 slams, right? And Novak trying to win 25th. So there's so much at stake, yet the level was insane, right? It was another 3+ hours. I mean, it was such a fabulous Australian Open, honestly. Like, especially semifinals onwards, men's, women's, both. I have a fun question for both of you, or maybe I don't know if it's fun or not. But if you had to pick one player in the history of tennis that you have seen to play one set and try to win that set at Australia, who would you pick?
For me, Stan the man.
You would go with Stan, okay. What about you, Coach Craig?
So I'd want to do a training block with Stan for like 4 hours, and then I know we'd go out and pound a beer and have some dinner. Like that would be my thing. But I guess, like in Australia, I'm not sure if I have the Australia like feel for who I want to do, but like I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and that's where my love with tennis was. So I'd want one set against Pete and try to do my arm wrestling match against him and see what could happen. So that would be my AO down under match.
That's amazing.
How about you, Soham? How about you?
For me, it's
Novak.
I know.
You'd want to play Rafa. Come on.
For me, Andre or Rafa. So like an image I shared this morning, right, with you guys, it had Andre, Rafa, and Carlos, the 3 players that I have liked, and they have. I think a lot of people who are Pete fans after Pete retired became Federer fans, right?
Yep.
Now they're having an issue because I don't know who's the next Pete or Fed.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a continuum. Like Andre, then came Rafa, now it's Carlos, right? So I'm good for the time being, right? I enjoy all of them, but I think the strongest player in Australia though has been without a doubt Novak.
Yeah.
He's just been dominating. So yeah, I mean, it's also, since you guys mentioned about Stan and Craig, in my previous episode, number 36, I mentioned this actually. So since you're here today, I'll say it again. First of all, it's great to see both Monfils and Stan the Man, giving they're so passionate, and the love for tennis is so representative of the way they play and the way they interact with people. But the way Stan did his post-match on court with a couple of beer cans and doing
Yep.
cheers to the crowd, I mentioned it to Tarun last time, right? I can see you doing something like that and relating to it, like fun dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, everybody's got their own tennis journey, and nobody
Yeah.
can tell anybody how to feel and how to do things. But man, we've talked about this pre-episode where you want to find good people who will
Yeah.
want to play tennis with you, and they'll travel for tennis, and they'll work hard and shake your hand after the match, and you can enjoy a conversation or a beverage or whatever. And we followed Stan over the course of his decades playing, and I don't know if there's too many people who have worked harder and put in the training that Stan has. Like, and you guys know me, I love watch the Demon R training is
Yeah.
exceptional, and stuff like, and Iga's training is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So I love that. But like, Stan's not gifted with that kind of body, right? Like, he's just is a big strong dude, and for him to work, it takes a lot on his body.
Yep.
And for him to be doing what he's doing, I guess I'm comparing him to Novak if I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but like, those are two different dudes, right?
Yep.
Like, one's a Chevy Tahoe and the other one's a Maserati. And Stan's the Tahoe. And dude is just working just as hard as Novak. But Stan that's my kind of guy. It's like, he'll fist bump you, let's pop a beer, and
Yep.
go out for some sushi afterwards and stay out late and do our thing. So, yeah, I love the way he handled it. That's that altruistic tennis vibe, tennis universe feel. Huge fan. He expects nothing back, and he gives everything. And he's one of my favorite players of all time.
Yep.
And just really love that guy's work ethic and his perspective of tennis for the world. It's just really, and I hope he coaches somebody one day,
Yeah.
because he might be as good as great as he was as a tennis player to crack 3 majors
Yep.
in the time frame that he did.
Yeah.
Him and Murray, if they could coach, freak,
Yeah.
that's going to be
Yeah. They're going to
that would be awesome.
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
absolutely love that. And those will be the players that I root for. It's just going to be awesome.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it'll be great.
I hear you, Craig. I hear you. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a wonderful way to. It's like a tribute to these guys. And since we spoke about Stan, I just want to say a quick word on Monfils. Like, dude, I love that guy. He's entertaining. He has fun with tennis. Also, shout out to his wife Svitolina, who had a fabulous run at the tournament.
Finalist.
Phenomenal tournament.
Yep.
Yep.
Really happy to see her do so well. And Monfils, such a supporting husband as well as a professional tennis player. And I'm gonna miss that guy. Like, I've actually seen him live at Indian Wells, and he's so entertaining, dude. Everybody loves to see that guy. He's an athletic freak.
Yeah. He's
So
It's amazing.
we are rooting for people with good vibes, right? So I agree with you about Stan, about Monfils, and hope to see more of such guys come through the ranks.
Indeed.
Yeah. I guess, folks, with that, we come to the end of episode 37. Hope everyone enjoyed this fun-filled post-mortem of the Australian Open 2026. Again, at Tennishackery is our social media handle, and we are all about discussing the fundamentals, fitness, and the mindset aspects of the game. In fact, if you listen to all our episodes, you would find these themes sprinkled in, no matter if we are discussing, the science of tennis, or the any level of tennis. You will find these themes sprinkled in. Again, to go on with the marketing spiel, you can find us on Instagram, X, Facebook. The audio version goes to Spotify, but you can open up any of your favorite podcasting apps, whether it's on Apple Podcasts or on any of your favorite Android apps. You will be able to find us there. The video version goes to YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. any engagement, any digital engagement you have with us helps feed the algorithm and helps us grow. Again, any suggestions for improvement, any guests that you would like to see, any topics discussed, please comment, and thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.